Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. Last night's picks went 5-1. It was close, man. Tyler Hero had 2 rebounds in the first quarter. I really thought he was going to cash this very easily, and then he just got one more for the whole game. Could not even get a stat push. We'll take the 5-1 here, and you can see exactly what I said in the video with Towns and Reed. I mean, Towns ended up getting a lot of the minutes. They even went into OT. He cashed the over 22.5 points, while Reed got less minutes and only got 10 points. So hooked right under that 10.5. Then Devin Booker, an easy cash there. And then Bam on the under points was good with Hero on the rebounds, which ended up bring up the slip. I even got this one that was pretty close here. Just needed Kelly to stay under that 6.5 and could have been a 10x there with the reboot on Middleton. We get onto the board for today. I do have another 6 flex, and we're going to start it off with Bam again. Tonight, I actually want to grab his over 17.5 points. He has been missing this like pretty much every game. I don't even think he hit this. Okay, he hit this once in the past 5 games, but I think tonight is the night that he gets back his form and actually clears this line once again. Because we're taking Bam on the over 17.5 points, I do want to grab Butler on the under 20.5 points, and this is a bit controversial because he's been pretty hot recently. He's been clearing this in the past 5 games. He's been doing very well with Rose in the lineup. So why are we going with this instead of, Butler on the more and Bam on the less? Well, let's take a look at that on props.cash. Bam on the over and Butler on the under. As I said, Bam has been in terrible form recently, or at least hasn't been getting as many points with Rose in the lineup. He's only cleared this in the past 4 out of 10 games. But I'm looking at the juice here, and it is, pretty much 50-50 on some books. But FanDuel does have slight juice towards the over. Caesars also has juice towards the over, all the way up at minus 125. If we compare that to Butler, his 20.5, yes, he's been clearing this. And yes, he's cleared this in the last 10. Like, he's been doing really well. Complete opposite players here. But the juice is towards his under, all the way up at minus 130. And then there's even more agreements on the fact that his juice should be towards the under. But that's not what I'm mostly looking at. I'm looking at this matchup. So San Antonio is 26th in points allowed, 29th in rebounds allowed, and 25th in assists allowed. But most of all, they are better at guarding the small forward position than the center position. Look at this. In the last 7 games, San Antonio has actually been the best defense against the small forward position. They're only allowing an average of 13.65 points per game compared to all these other teams. Like, just to put that in perspective, the 76ers are an easy matchup, allowing 26.76 in the past 7 at least. If we check the center position, it does get easier for Bam here. They are actually 2nd in points allowed against the center position. So they're allowing a lot of points versus Bam's position, not a lot of points versus Jimmy Butler's position. And if we go up to the season, it's very similar here. They're 3rd in points allowed against the center position, 25.86% average. And against Butler here, they are still at the bottom here. So 19.85, still a tough matchup. So that's why I do think it's an easier matchup for Bam tonight. I think he finds his form tonight, and Butler will go under if Bam goes over. That's kind of the relationship between these players. It's not 100%, but obviously if Bam's having a very good game, Butler's more likely to go under his points. Not to say he's not going to get points, but he might get like 18 points, 20 points instead of actually cashing that over 20.5 points. The next game we're going to go to is the Hawks versus Boston, and there's a couple options you could go with. The option I'm going to go with, first of all, here is Derek White on the over 14.5 points. I'm going to be playing this again, similar concept with Butler and Bam. I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown on the under 21.5 points. We'll take a look at these guys and see some alternatives too. So Derek White, over 14.5 points, easy, right? If you're looking at this right away, very nice to see. 57% hit rate on the season. Easy matchup, 29 points allowed versus Atlanta. 27 and 3 points allowed, which Derek White really benefits from. He could get at least 9 points out of those threes. And then the juice, easy to see here. Over on every single sportsbook towards the over, except for BetMGM. They seem a bit confused here, but PointsBet already has him set at 15.5. On Prizepick, he's still at 14.5, so we're getting good value there. Now, if we take a look at Jaylen Brown, he's also been doing well in the recent games. Cleared this 7 out of 10 times, averaging 15.5 points, and he did clear this last time versus Atlanta, the over 14.5 points. Last time his line was set right above that at 15.5. We're getting 14.5 tonight. Jaylen Brown is a bit opposite here. While Jaylen Brown does have these good hit rates, 57% over the season, he has been averaging less points throughout the past few games. In the past 10, only averaging 19.4. Past 5, only averaging 16.2. And there is a bit conflicted juice. You can see some juice towards the under on BetMGM, some on Caesars towards the over. Check another sports book like Bet365, for example. He does have juice towards the under. So I think the general consensus is that juice on the under. Now, the other options that you could go with in the Boston team was Jason Tatum on the over 27.5 points. But I do believe he has bumped as I'm recording this video. So he was very good at 27.5 with heavy juice towards that over. And I was going to go with Drew Holiday on the under, who does have juice towards the under. Again, same concept. If Tatum is scoring a lot of points, 35 plus, things like that, Drew is not going to be getting a lot of points in that same game, especially because it's expected to be a bit of a blowout tonight. High-paced game, yes, 243 total, but minus 12.5 spread kind of puts you in that good spot where one starter might get a ton of points, and then as they start to get benched throughout the fourth quarter, it's not going to be good for those guys who haven't gotten a lot of points throughout the game, like a Drew Holiday or maybe like a Jaylen Brown, who might be at like 18 points, but he doesn't get enough minutes to actually cash that 21.5. As I was recording, my 5th and 6th play were actually going to be on the Hawks team, but I just got some injury news here on Underdog. Murray is now questionable to play, and Hunter is going to play, so that changes my slip, because what I did have here is Saddiq Bey on the over 11.5 points with DeJounte Murray on the under 20.5 points. So, I mean, since the Hawks players are not on the board right now, I'm going to find some replacements and put them in as the 5th and 6th play. Okay, for the replacement games, I'm actually going to go to the Washington Wizards. I'm going to be grabbing Denny on the over 12.5 points with Kuzma on the over 3.5 assists. I already did lock this one in a different slip. So my full slip that I want to give in this video was this one right here with Bey and Murray. But I'm going to throw in these guys instead that I had in a different slip. So Denny over 12.5 points, Kuzma over 3.5 assists. And let's take a look at these guys. Both in very good form, and both have cleared this pretty much throughout the season, at least at a 52% hit rate. So Denny at 53%, and then Kuzma at about 60%, averaging 4.3 on the season. Last 10 at 4.5, cleared this 8 out of 10 times. And same thing for Denny here, averaging 14.3 in the last 10, as well as clearing this 7 out of 10 times. But what I'm really looking at is the juice here. So a lot of sportsbooks, at least 3 of them right here, have him at 13.5 already. We're getting him at 12.5 with PointsBet juice towards a -130. FanDuel juice towards -118. Same thing for Kuzma here. If we check his 3.5 prop, yes, he has juice towards that over on every single sportsbook. And they are up against Cleveland tonight, which is a bit of a tougher matchup. They're at home and still expected to get blown out by about 11.5 points. But it is a pretty decent total. I mean, it's not too high, not too low. 234, right in the middle of the pack. So I think it's enough time and enough of a total to kind of these points for Denny, and the Kuzma assists are going to come naturally from assisting some of Denny's points. Also, it's worth noting that in the head-to-head matchups, he has actually not cleared this in both times, and this was both in 2024 here. Only got 3 assists and 2 assists last time they played Cleveland, and this was on 22.7 minutes and 25.5. So if he gets a bit more than that, which, you know, if they keep it, you know, tight a bit throughout the game, it doesn't have to be a complete blowout from the start, because Kuzma averages 31.5 minutes. You can see the last time they played, I mean, he's way, way below that. So if he really gets around 30 minutes, maybe even 28, it's going to look much better for Kuzma to clear this line. But if we check Denny, same thing versus Cleveland. He cleared it actually once here at 13 points and only got 7 points the last time. And this was on 21.5 minutes and 26 minutes, you know. So if they're getting around 26 to 28 minutes, it's going to look very good for us here. He's averaging 27.5 minutes. So you need this game to not be a complete blowout, or at least only get to blowout territory within like the third quarter, middle of the third quarter, and we'll still get some nice minutes on these starters. So this is kind of the official play. I mean, I don't have this exact slip played, but I do have these exact players in these combinations throughout different slips. So I'm going to recap each of these guys tomorrow.